Okay, today we're going to make some pinto beans. I don't know if we're going to make them in a crock pot yet or do it in the Instant Pot, then put them in the crock pot because that way we could have them for dinner tonight. And first we're going to start off with pinto beans. We're going to take about a pound and we got to get all the rocks out of it. Then after that, that's what we'll be eating tonight. We got to find something else to go with it. We had chicken last night and stuffing and baked beans. Then I had chicken and green beans. And so tonight we got chicken left. I was thinking about making barbecue chicken. And then these pinto beans. So, and then I'll fix the rest of the stuffing and stuff for Ronnie and Cameron. And that's what we'll probably have. I don't know what we'll have with the soup beans tonight. But I'm going to put some bacon grease in them and some chicken broth and salt and pepper. And you don't put this kind of beans in your beans. You don't want something like that. Throw that away. And this is a meal from like Kentucky. This is what we used to eat. Was growing up all the time. Nose itching off. Yes, my hands is clean. I washed them. And make sure you wash your beans 3 or 4 times before you start cooking them. And look for rocks in your beans. If you get a rock or a bad one, take it out. And how you know a bean is bad? When you're soaking it, if it floats, it's bad. Take it out and throw it away. And if you want to can them, you have to pressure can them for either 75 to 90 minutes, depending on what size of jar you got. Now, if you're like one of these Amish people or somebody from the old days, they water bath their beans for 3 hours. And I have done that. Rebel Cannon is what it's called. I have done that, and it is good. The beans, there's nothing wrong with them. And I have Rebel Can before. There's another one. I'm going to throw that away. So, if you want to, you do as you feel like. It's your house, your rules. But I own a pressure canner and a water bath canner. And I mostly do water baths. But I am thinking about start pressure canning a bunch of beans because we need them for our shelf. And that way we don't buy them at the store. We just buy a bag of beans, separate them out, and then pressure can them, and we'll be done. Put them on a store shelf. Be a lot cheaper than going to the store and buying it. Store them in our pantry or wherever, and they'll last at least 18 months or longer. The price of food these days, you just can't afford to hardly buy nothing. I ain't bought canned food in a year. So, that tells you how much money I want to spend on food. We grow a lot of our own food. And this year has sure been a good blessing to us this year. And we still got food growing in the bathtub right now. Our tomato plant in the bathtub has got a tomato on it already. And our other one is growing real tall. So So it's fixing to put off sprouts too.
We still have collard greens and kale and cabbage in the garden.
Yes. Even though it's wintertime.
I'll be making some videos on that.
So, yeah. You can garden in the winter. You just got to pick what you got to grow, and that's it.
Yeah, stuff more
that's more winterized.
Frost resistant.
Yeah. And what we don't grow out there in the garden, we're growing in the house. We got onions growing. We got basil growing. We got thyme growing. We got oregano. We got curly parsley.
Sage. Fresh sage for Thanksgiving.
And
awesome.
Today, if I've got time, I'm going to plant some bell peppers, lettuce, going to grow some zucchini, and celery in my bathtub. We got a big old garden tub, and that's what we're growing our food in right now.
Yeah.
Because we've got a regular bathtub and we got 2 showers. Yeah. So we're using our garden tub for a greenhouse right now. And you got to have plenty of light in order to make something grow in the house. You got to put it by a window. They've got to have sunlight. And we're growing lemon trees right now too.
Got what, 6?
Yeah, we got 6 lemon trees. Now, the thing about a lemon tree is you could plant them in a bucket or whatever and put them outside for the summertime, but they have to be in the house in the wintertime. Unless you're in a warm climate all year round, like Florida or somewhere like that. And also, we start pears. We're going to have pear seedlings pretty soon. We've got them up in the cabinet. I done a video on that last week. So when they grow little tails, we'll show you what we're going to do with them to make them into trees.
I'd like to do some Granny Smith apples like that. Or maybe
yeah, apple seeds or anything. We're going to start planting our own stuff.
Or maybe some Golden Delicious.
But now when you plant fruit trees, it's going to take you a while before you get fruit off of them. At least 2 or 3 years. But just think, when you do start growing them, it's going to be some good eating. And that's less you have to buy at the grocery store. Yeah, we're trying to get away from the grocery store.
Fruit is expensive nowadays.
Now, this pound of beans is going to feed 3 people. Now, if you got like 6 in your family, you'll probably need 2 pounds. I always throw all the bad beans away. If they're broken in half, you don't need them neither. And look for rocks in your beans. We about got a pound already. It don't take long to do this part. And everybody needs to have emergency pantry food. For like when they don't, it's at hard times, like they ain't got no food at the end of the month or before payday, go buy you a bag of beans at whenever you get paid, either 25 pounds. If you buy a 25-pound bag, that should last you at least a year or longer of food. Depends on your family size too. But at least buy you 2 pounds a month. It only costs you about $2, maybe $3 at the most. Put that back for emergencies. And that way, if you don't got no food, you won't be starving. Everybody deserves to eat. Everybody deserves to have clean water. And you just can't trust the water that comes out of your pipes, especially if you live in a city. And we do not drink our water unless we boil it. And then you boil it for 10 minutes. Hard boil. For 10 minutes. A rolling boil. And you never know what the government is allowing the FDC to put in our food. And we're getting like we don't even want to go to the grocery store. Really, we don't go nowhere. We home mostly 24 hours a day unless we need something from the store. And then we go straight to the store and straight back. We don't go nowhere else. We ain't got money to do other than that. And we only put $25 a month in our gas tank. That's it. And once that's gone, sorry, we don't get another. $25 is all we spend on gas. And that don't take you very far. Okay, this is all of our beans that we need. So we're going to take them in there and we're going to soak them for about an hour. And then we're going to boil some hot water. And we're going to put them in our Instant Pot. Cook them for about an hour. Then we're going to put them in our slow cooker and let them cook for all day till supper time. And we don't eat till 7 o'clock at night. After that, that'll be our last meal of the day. And we'll be right back with you. And now, my husband's got a YouTube channel named Ronnie Fugate. All you have to do, look it up. And he's on YouTube now. He's got his first video up. And he will be making more. This is Tanya's Home Cooking on YouTube. And we will be showing you the rest of what we got to do.
We'll be doing some outside videos, projects, garden videos, several more things I've got planned. But tune in.
Pause it again. Okay, we're getting ready to soak our beans. This is hot water. Make sure you do rinse your beans. Because they come from the factory, they are dirty. Or if you got them from the garden, they are dirty. Now the next step after this is to boil you some hot water after you let them soak for an hour. And that's what you pour in your Instant Pot. And then we'll cook the beans on 1 hour in the Instant Pot. And then we're going to transfer them in the slow cooker. And we're going to cook them on low and slow to about 7 o'clock at night. Then we're going to eat. Okay, I've rinsed my beans now. They are clean because I don't see no dirt nowhere. The water ain't changing colors or nothing. Now, we're going to let these soak for an hour. Okay, we'll be back with you in an hour. Listen what Hillary Clinton says about Donald Trump. Here we go.
It again with another deplorable and hypocritical comment about Donald Trump. You would think she would be over the bitterness of losing to him in 2016, but it just keeps rising to the surface. Well, Hillary Clinton was on The View and decided to talk about people from the past and her worries for the future. She literally said, democracy will end as we know it if Donald Trump is able to get into the White House again. But here's her biggest fear is that this time he might actually lock her up or he might go after his political enemies, but that would be complete and total hypocrisy because of what they're doing right now. But let me roll the clip and then I'll give you my thoughts at the end.
Legitimately elected. And then they would try to do away with elections and do away with opposition and do away with a free press. And you could see it in countries where, well, Hitler was duly elected.
That's right.
Right? And so all of a sudden, somebody with those tendencies, those dictatorial, authoritarian tendencies would be like, oh, okay, we're going to shut this down. We're going to throw these people in jail. And they didn't usually telegraph that. Trump is telling us what he intends to do.
So Hillary Clinton compares Donald Trump to one of the worst human beings on the planet. Somebody that it took all of Europe, the United States, 25 million Russians in order to kill Hitler. And she says that Donald Trump is as bad or worse than Hitler. And saying that he's just coming right out and saying what he's going to do. Now, I'm a libertarian. Those are my values, but I can see hypocrisy and bullcrap a mile away. And let me tell you what's really going on. She's terrified that he's going to get back into office and that Trump will have her arrested. But check out the hypocrisy, because what I have found is that the left blames others for exactly what they're doing. So she's saying if Trump gets back in office, he's going to arrest his political opponents. But look at what they're doing right now, coming after him for classified documents he had the right to take. They're coming after him for fraud. They're coming after him for not displaying something on his taxes. They're coming after him for telling people to peacefully and patriotically protest at the Capitol, and then it turned ugly. But of course, they have to blame him as the ringleader, right? And they're saying they're going to lock up their political opponent. They're literally trying to lock him up for the next 700 plus years. They have said they want him in jail for the rest of his life. Now, they also compared him to Hitler. Are you kidding me? Donald Trump's son-in-law is Jewish. His daughter is Jewish. His grandchildren are Jewish. So it's completely offensive and totally hypocritical. And in fact, Hillary, it's deplorable.
When asked about this investigation, watch this.
Bribery allegation. Congresswoman Nancy Mace says there's damning evidence an FBI file that you sold out the country. Do you have a response to congressional Republicans?
Where's the money? I'm joking.
Mr. President, I try to rock it.
It's a bunch of malarkey.
Yeah, where's the money? It's hard to find when you've got 20 shell companies, I guess. Joining me right now is Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for being here. What can you tell us?
Good to be with you. Well, where's the money? It looks like it's in Joe Biden's accounts. That's where it's at. I mean, $200,000 that he got after the AmeriCorps pays Jim Biden, and then Jim Biden says loan repayment pays him back. And now this $40,000, which just happened to be, of course, 10% of the $400,000 that Hunter Biden got paid from this Chinese company. So when you look at all this, as Mr. Comer outlined, the brand that they were selling, this is not me talking. This is not Republicans talking. This is Devin Archer, Hunter Biden's partner, said the brand was Joe Biden. The 20 different companies, the multiple family members getting paid, how this money is routed through all these various entities, it sure starts to look funny. And then when you couple all that, Maria, with what the Justice Department did, or frankly failed to do when they investigated Hunter Biden and the Ukraine issue and all this, that's the real story here, I think, and that's why we are in an impeachment inquiry phase, and we continue to do our work. Chairman Smith is looking at the whistleblowers, the good information they brought forward, which, by the way, their testimony has stood up to cross-examination has not wavered, has not changed. So Chairman Smith does that. Chairman Comer and the Oversight Committee are looking at the banking records, the suspicious activity reports. And then, of course, our committee, excuse me, is looking at how the DOJ handled the investigation.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about that. In terms of all of those shell companies that the Biden family set up while Joe Biden was vice president, are those some of those companies in that diagram? Those are the LLCs that he set up so that money could go from China to a Hunter Biden entity to another Hunter Biden entity. Those are the LLCs, right?
Yeah, those are some of the multiple, Owasco is one of them, the Red Line, all these different companies they set up that they move money around, through and around. That's all part of this scheme that they had. It looks like part of their influence peddling and everything else.
So Chairman, let me get your take on how this was done, because if James Comer and yourself and Jason Smith have been able to get these bank records, and you have a clear line in terms of money coming from a foreign adversary, China, going to Hunter Biden accounts, going ultimately making it to Joe Biden's account, how come the DOJ didn't have that? I mean, you've got these bank records. Should we assume that the DOJ knew all of this and just blew it off?
Well, they certainly kept some information from important people. We learned 2 weeks ago that Scott Brady, the U.S. attorney who the Attorney General, Bill Barr, put in charge back on January 3rd, 2020, of being the clearinghouse for all information related to Hunter Biden and related to Ukraine. We now know, after our deposition with Scott Brady, that the FBI never shared with him the fact that they had the laptop. I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, I asked him that question in the deposition. Yeah, they waited 10 months. They never shared with him until 6 months about the confidential human source, the person who said that Zolochevsky from Burisma paid $5 million to Hunter Biden and $5 million to Joe Biden. That was recorded in that 1023 form. They never shared that with him until 6 months into his work. So they kept things from, they slow walked everything. So on one hand, you have the Justice Department, which we learned last week was spying on Capitol Hill staffers, Republican staffers. The Justice Department that said parents were terrorists. The Justice Department that said pro-life Catholics were extremists. And then on the other hand, you have that same Justice Department who's slow walking the Hunter Biden investigation and keeping valuable information from Scott Brady, the U.S. attorney put in charge by the Attorney General of the United States.
Right.
So that's the stuff we're looking at.
This is all so stunning, Congressman. I mean, Hunter Biden's lawyer actually served Attorney General Merrick Garland with a subpoena as part of his lawsuit against the IRS. He claims he's going to sue the IRS for getting all this information. It happens after a top DOJ tax official reportedly told your committee that Hunter Biden prosecutor David Weiss was not allowed to bring charges against the first son without speaking to the tax division first. You've also sent a letter to the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, demanding to know why the intelligence community obstructed Senators Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson's investigation, claiming that they were advancing Russian disinformation. So this is all connected. Last week, Grassley revealed that the FBI has received information from more than 40 confidential sources on criminal matters related to the Bidens, and yet they blew all of the information off. They said it was disinformation. Tell us more about your investigation, where you think things are headed now.
We're looking into all that, plus Jason Foster, who worked for Senator Grassley, was spied on by the Justice Department. They got his phone records. He learned this because Google, one of the carriers, had the Justice Department subpoena them for the phone records of a key staffer for Senator Grassley. So while he's trying to investigate this, while they're giving him this briefing that he said was ridiculous, while all this is going on, they're also spying on his staffer who was looking into how the Justice Department ran the whole Crossfire Hurricane investigation. So we want to get answers to all that. We want to know who else did they spy on? What other staffers? Was it other members that they were looking at their phone records or their email records? Was it personal? Was it just their government phone or their government computer? We want to know that information. So that's why we sent the letters to the various folks, including the carriers, including Google, Verizon, and the other carriers who would have been subpoenaed by the government back at that time.
Oh, how do your colleagues on the left deal with this? I mean, can they all just, make believe this is not going on? I mean, we see drip, drip, drip of evidence of corruption in Joe Biden and Joe Biden's family. The House continues to release all of this. What do you hear from Democrats? Are they still trying to deny it, say that Joe Biden has not done any of this?
No, good question, Maria. We'll see if they're going to be helpful, particularly now that the FISA 702 part of the FISA program has to be reauthorized by the end of this year. So we are actually working with some Democrats who still believe in the First Amendment, still believe in the Constitution on safeguards we want to put in place dealing with the FISA law. So we'll see. I think there are some Democrats who are going to work with us who understand that the FISA system has certainly been abused. Now, they may not look at all the stuff we just talked about in the same way you and I do, but I do think there's an understanding from many Democrats that we need to.
And it actually strikes fear in me that somehow, someday, somewhere, that will get out.
I went through 5 different security passes, and then a woman at the gate who will not recheck into their records says to me, "You cannot go on." No, she is a moron. Just calm down.
Got it.
No, Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender.
In my opinion, it was 100% preventable.
What did this guy know about Obama? Did he know that Michelle Obama was maybe Michael Obama? Did they know that maybe former President-elect Obama was having relations with a man?
Behind the curtains of power and prestige, untold stories often can send shivers down our spines. In a shocking revelation that shakes the very foundations of political intrigue, Joan Rivers' daughter unveils a conspiracy that hints at a chilling possibility: the Obama's involvement in her mother's mysterious demise. In a world where truth is stranger than fiction, join us as we delve into the enigmatic circumstances surrounding Joan Rivers' passing and leaving us to question everything we thought we knew. A recent conspiracy regarding Joan Rivers' death has caught everyone's attention. Many people didn't take Joan's words seriously when she talked about certain things, but now more and more people are starting to think that maybe she was onto something. People are wondering if there's more to Joan Rivers' death than what we were told, and if it might be connected to what she said about secrets involving Obama. Joan, who was a bold comedian, always said what she thought. One time, reporters talked to her at a bookstore in New York City where she was helping with a wedding for 2 fans who were both the same gender. One reporter asked her what she thought about the idea of the U.S. having a president who is gay. As always, Joan answered in her unique style. She said, "We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down," she said. "You know, Michelle Obama is a trans." When asked to further explain, Rivers said, "A transgender, we all know it." Since Joan was known for her bold and funny way of talking, many people thought she was just joking about Obama and Michelle. But a little more than a month after she said those things, she suddenly passed away. The cause of death was stated as an accident undergoing a small routine procedure on her throat at a clinic in Manhattan. Something went wrong during the procedure, and Joan stopped breathing.
Her assistant, and she said, "I don't know what," she's crying, and she said, "I don't know what to tell you. Your mother stopped breathing. I don't know what to tell you. We're on our way to the hospital."
They were able to make her breathe again an hour later. They took her to Mount Sinai Hospital and put her on machines to help her stay alive. Sadly, she died on September 4th at Mount Sinai. Later on, the people in charge started looking into what happened. They found out that the clinic had made a lot of mistakes before and during the procedure. The doctors didn't pay enough attention to how Joan was doing, like her blood pressure dropping a lot. There were also indications of a possible incorrect anesthesia dosage. They didn't even write down how much.
Pour out the water. We're going to put it in our Instant Pot. First, we just made some sausage, so we're going to use the grease. We made it in the air fryer, so we're going to use the grease from it. I usually use bacon grease, but we had this, so I'm going to use it. Pour our beans in here. Okay, we're going to add some pepper. And some salt. That's all we're going to add besides chicken broth. We got these 2 packs, and we're going to put them in here. You get these packs at the Dollar Tree. You get 8 of them for $1.25. Chicken broth. Okay, now we're going to add our water to this. We want boiling hot water. This is half a cup. We only want enough of water to cover the beans. I put 2 cups in it already. Okay, we're going to put 2 more and that'll be enough. Okay, should be enough. We covered the beans. Make sure you wash this ring every time you use it. And make sure you use your lid, rinse your lid and wash it. Then line these up with the hose.